I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. Guys, it's about time. Canada to ratify new NAFTA next week after U.S. approval, says Trudeau. So, Trudeau's moving in to basically sign this NAFTA agreement that's been on the table for the last, 3 years now? It's about time. But, see, NAFTA didn't work in Canada's favor. Heck, didn't even work in America's favor when it was originally implemented, right? A lot of people blame um, Governor Clinton for. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody's just messaging me here. And NAFTA was according to Donald Trump, was actually butchered, a very bad deal, but it's a very complicated deal. And the idea was brought forward in 1979, actually originally by Ronald Reagan, of course. Vote for me if you believe in liberty. He called it the North American Accord. And he was in his office beside a globe with a nice tie saying there's cooperation between the nations and growth could be made. And what I remember is in 1992, during the presidential debate, when Ross Perot basically actually read this NAFTA agreement himself and actually said, wait a minute, all the work's going to go south. There's no two-way street. If you guys remember the two-way street speech, he said that basically it's not going to work for America and it's going to be worse for Canada. That's from Ross Perot. So all countries signed on to this after when I think it was Bush signed it before he went out of office. And then in 1993, after all countries were in 93, I think it was November, December, where Clinton had this speech and basically created this world largest trade zone with approval of all three countries. But it did create trade. It did. Just close to almost $2 trillion in trade. But a lot of jobs went south. That's the problem. Labor is super cheap in Mexico, and a lot of people stuck in this middle America and little cities in Canada and small towns and production cities and production towns were left out in the cold. And then, I remember in 2008-ish, when Obama stated he wanted to fix this whole NAFTA thing, the Obama thing. This whole NAFTA thing needs to be amendment. And I remember him when he was watching the election, when they were out there debating, and he wanted to amend it. Nothing really happened. Now, Donald Trump now finally is coming forward with something that's going to work with NAFTA. But now, is it going to benefit Canada? I mean, is it really legitimately going to put Canada as a powerful trading partner again and put it or increase a better strategy for Canada? So Canada to ratify the new NAFTA next week after U.S. approval, says Trudeau. Ottawa Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Canada will move swiftly next week to formally approve North America's new long-delayed free trade pact. Trudeau says the government will introduce a motion to apply some of its elements in January 27 when the Parliament resumes, and will table legislation to ratify the deal 2 days later. Passing the new NAFTA in Parliament is our priority, Trudeau said. I almost said Trudy said, at the end of the cabinet's retreat in Winnipeg. Millions of Canadians depend on a stable, reliable trade with our largest trading partners, from farmers in Alberta and auto workers in Windsor to aluminum producers in Shaughnessy and entrepreneurs in St. John's or in Vancouver. It is expected that the opposition Conservatives, who are ardent free traders, will support the legislation when Canada's new minority parliament reconvenes. That would remove the final legal hurdle in preserving the continent-wide trade after President Donald Trump foisted the acrimonious regeneratorious of a 25 year-old North American Free Trade Agreement on Canada and in Mexico in 2017. Trump threatened repeatedly to rip up the original NAFTA sword of Damocles that hung over more than the year of negotiations that were key to Canada's economy. So how key is it? How realistically key is it? That's the thing. A lot of Canadian cities or a lot of Canadian towns lost. I remember the Ford plant in Ontario lost a bit of its assembly to Mexico. We lost a lot of our produce to Mexico, plants and stuff, and producing and canned food and stuff like that, even dog food. We lost a lot of that kind of stuff. So the fate of numerous sectors, including the auto industry, agriculture, and manufacturing, were on the line in the talks. The U.S. and Canada, top trading partner, and Trudeau government made major policy changes to preserve access to crucial markets to face of mercurial presidents. They always throw big words around Trump to try and, I don't know. Last week, the Republican-led U.S. Senate passed its implementation bill for a new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. The Liberal government had been waiting for the U.S. to formally ratify the pact before passing its own bill after Mexico ratified the deal back in June. Okay, guys, comment below. What do you think of NAFTA? Historically, it hasn't worked for Canada. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. And thank you so much for joining and supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. Let me know. NAFTA.